The international break is over and game week 12 is very nearly done of the Premier League season, and it symbolised the start of a new era and also, as we've learnt in the last couple of hours, an end of an era as well, as the Premier League manager has gone and the Premier League manager has come to the Premier League. Welcome back to our roundup show. Just Sean joining me this week. How are you, mate?
I'm not too bad, mate. Not been the nicest weekend, has it?
No, it's been rather damp and tumultuous, yeah.
Yeah, the heating's been on. Let's put it that way.
It has. Gideon to joining us. Hope you are well. I should imagine you're in quite a jovial mood, Sean, to be honest.
I'm sure we'll come on to it, but
We will.
I'm kind of used to it a little bit. The fact that it was away to the champions who haven't lost 2 years at home, I believe, or 50-odd games, whatever that is, makes it a little bit more special. But I'm used to these very impressive performances. It's what usually comes next, which I'm also used to.
Well, there we go. Best weekend in ages with us not playing yet. Oh, GC losing. Well, to be totally honest, I mean, I've had a great weekend. There's been no West Ham to ruin it. That all ends tomorrow night up at St James's Park. But we're going to start with what's ended up being quite a symbolic game, the 12:30 yesterday, which seems like quite a long time ago, as Leicester were defeated by 2-1 to Chelsea, who are flourishing. And it's also resulted in Steve Cooper getting the sack, Sean.
Yeah, I haven't read or heard a lot of Leicester fans' opinions on Cooper. Do you know? Have you heard any whispers what they thought of him at all?
I haven't, no.
Because I can't tell how many points they're on, but they're fifth from bottom at the moment. We're just coming in December. I would have thought most fans would be quite content with that as a start. That would be my hunch. And if you're going to be finishing in that area of the table, your style probably doesn't normally matter a lot, does it really? So I don't know what the fans thought of it. I haven't seen a lot of uproar like they're shocked or anything. So it's odd. I don't know what the club were expecting. Obviously, they lost Maresca to Chelsea. They then got away with their points deduction, which was going to come. I think who's the winger they've got that's injured? The good player. I can't remember his name. He's out for a little while.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
It wasn't exactly a shocking result, was it? Was it 2-1 in the end? Was it
2-1? Yeah.
Chelsea are playing well. That's not a shocking result. I don't know. I don't know if there's any rumours who's coming in. I've seen Moyes' name mentioned the other day, and not the other day. Sorry, the other minute. Because you've got them coming up, haven't you? So people were sort of whether they were just chucking that as a little story together. I don't know. From just not knowing too much about it, it seems a very strange and bad decision to me. But
yeah, I've just had a little flick through the Twitter quotes and replies, and most of them are fans of other clubs expressing a little bit of confusion. I mean, there isn't too many Leicester fans amongst it having too much negativity towards. I mean, there was always a bit of friction there because he came from Forest, didn't he? And they don't particularly like each other, Forest and Leicester. So I never really thought that he had the fans at Leicester. It always came across as a little bit weird. Yeah, I mean, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Mark Robbins, David Moyes have been the names that I've seen banded around already. We play them on the 3rd of December, so the obvious storyline of David Moyes is coming to fruition there. But it'll be interesting to see what happens in that sense. Chelsea, they're doing okay.
Yeah, then they've definitely improved. They're a bit wacky, weren't they, last year, the year before, where they look good for the odd game, then they get hammered or something, letting a boatload of goals. They look a strong outfit. They have got good individuals as well. I know they've spent a fortune, so you'd like to think if you throw enough darts, you're gonna find something eventually. But the manager's doing well there. He has got a team together. Their results seem more often than not reasonably normal, which we haven't been used to for a couple of years. Yeah, I'm no lover of Chelsea, as you can imagine, but I do respect what sort of side they are this year, and they're they're 3rd in the league at the moment. I don't think they'll fall far from that, if I'm honest.
We will see. Steve Cooper sacking is madness, says Fathead. Who are they going to bring in? Almost certainly someone with no Premier League experience. Wow, I mean, there isn't that much out there, as we discovered.
I was just thinking, I've read a lot of West Ham fans in the last probably week, more or less talking about the next manager, like he's already gone, the old one. and now we've got another club looking for a manager. You'd probably put West Ham just above Leicester in the rankings of clubs looking for managers. Would you agree with that? Would you like to think you're a bit above them?
I should hope so.
But then again, they are, whether they're, I know, slightly different ownership thing now. They might still view themselves as former Premier League champions and FA Cup winners and all that, blah. Even though it's a different era gone now, but maybe they do have high expectations as a club. But
if they did have high expectations, I don't know why they appointed Steve Cooper, to be frank. But
yeah, that's fair. But if you forget, a lot of people, the Forest fans were a bit gutted he was sacked. I know he went on a bit of a bad run at the time, but I didn't mind him at Forest. When I was just mentioning you and Leicester, like, your fans are more or less talking like you haven't got a manager already, to be quite honest with you. And I'm just trying to put you both in a similar boat, who either of you might go for. I've seen the sort of group of coaches that your lot are linked to, or who Sullivan apparently wants, and there's question marks over all of them. Some of them I don't think you'd even get. So now I'm thinking who Leicester could go for. Like, you wouldn't be happy with Steve Cooper, for example, I assume.
No. But there is one name that you chucked to me a couple of years ago, and do you remember which one it was? I was slightly apprehensive at the time in the Championship.
I mentioned Carrick about 4 years ago that he'd be one to watch.
4 years ago, crikey!
It was a long time ago, probably when we started doing the show, that he was one to watch. And I missed your show was it last week? You did a show about the manager and the manager, and I just sent your dad a message saying, look out for McKenna if Ipswich go, even if you hang on to the end of the season, or if you don't appoint a manager full time, because it's very easy to sack who you've got now, appoint someone 2 weeks later, and it's another mistake. Sometimes, a bit like what I said to you last year. Remember I said there was the bottom three were guaranteed to go down to there's 4 or 5 clubs who could, a bit like your club was one of them, to be honest, who could almost take their foot off the gas, don't rush any sacking, really think about it, maybe even make an offer for next year. I don't know. That's something that I think.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, like I rate Carrick as a manager. McKenna, I don't whether he keeps Ipswich up or not. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion they go down. He will get another good job, and a club like West Ham will probably be the sort of step he probably want and would be a right sort of move, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd expect that. Fahed says, I think Moyes will want Everton when they sack Dyche. That seems like a formality at this point as well. Not sure how a 2-1 against Chelsea gets you sacked. If you're going to sack him, do it during the international break. It's why I can't see Loppy going this week, even if we're trounced tomorrow. I agree. Well, I mean, we've been given the reports are suggesting we've got these 2 games against Newcastle and Arsenal, which is just as well sacked him before the international break. If he's got to get something out of those 2 games, we just will not bother, because we ain't going to get nothing from Newcastle and Arsenal. And yeah, it's another situation of that in that sense. Just if it's on their mind, sack him during the international break, because a 2-1 loss to Chelsea, all right, it's not an amazing result, but it's not shambolic for a club that's just been promoted back up in the Premier League. They haven't been battered 5-0 against them, have they? Like, it all seems a little bit bizarre. We will move on. Well, where are we going next? We're going to a rather peculiar result with a Wolves side having a renaissance. They've stuck with Gary O'Neill and they've gone to Fulham and they've trounced them 4-1, Sean.
Yeah, I don't think many seen this coming, because Fulham have been playing well. We did mention about Wolves. Who did they play the other week when we said it?
Southampton.
Southampton. How did that game go in the end? I can't remember.
They beat them, I think.
Did they? I can remember saying that things with Wolves, you always think they got a goal on them.
Yeah.
And if you're a poor side down the bottom, if you're a side that's got a goal in them, or you've got a striker that can get you 10, 12 goals in a season, you're always going to have a chance. And I think that's what will maybe keep O'Neill on the job and just do well with Wolves. They can look a threat. And this is obviously, when teams are like that, they'll have games that click together, and this is obviously one. I was surprised by it. But yeah, fair play to them. I don't know whether you'll see Fulham dip off a little bit, because they're probably still in the cluster. Remember last week we said between 3rd and 11th, it was like 3 points. They're still in amongst it, and you'll have like lots of chopping and changing, but it's a great result for Wolves. That's all we can say on them, really.
Yeah, I think the score line inflates it slightly. They scored in the 87th and 95th minute. So with 5 minutes of normal time to go, it was 2-1. and both sides still in the game at that point. They got 2 runaway goals at the end, and it's a 4-1 victory, and it looks a lot better, and it will do them the world of good. Look, they were rock bottom a few weeks ago on like 2 or 3 points. Now they're back up above the relegation zone on 9 points, and Southampton now bottom, and they're 5 points off of them, and they've stuck with Gary O'Neill. It seemed like it was an inevitability that he was going to get sacked with the amount of games they were losing and just not winning, quite frankly, and they go and pop up this result. Do you think it sort of epitomises everything that's going on in the Premier League, Sean? Just no one's got a clue what's going to happen with the game we're going to come on to in a second.
A lot of people are beating everyone. I think a lot of it could be down to clash of styles a lot in some games. I'm trying to work out with my own club a little bit, but everyone will just keep beating everyone, and it's only Liverpool that are being consistent, really, and I'm not, along with not being that convincing, if you know what I mean. Consistent but not convincing, but it's getting them wins, and I don't know whether it's better to put in 7 out of 10 performances every week, or other than an 8 and a 9 one week and a 2 and a 3 the next. So I know last week's show I more or less slated the Premier League start to finish, and I'm not saying it's improved overnight, but it's a funny league to try and work out. It really is, and like I said about Leicester a minute ago, they're 5th bottom. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if they can go and beat a Brentford or a Bournemouth, who I'd probably put them in the next echelon a little bit above them. Do you know what I mean? They're capable of going beating them and getting a 3 points whenever they play them next. And it's a funny league to work out. I'm not sure we'll even work out by the end of the season, to be honest.
It's a huge cluster, because you've got Villa down in 8th, and from basically the top 4 down. So you've got Brighton in 5th, Spurs in 6th. They'll push up. You've got Forest that have now dropped down to 7th. You've got Forest, Villa, Newcastle, Fulham, Brentford, Man United, Bournemouth, and West Ham that complete a cluster of from 6th to 14th. And there's between sort of 10 of those sides, there's just 7 points between them, and it's just so congested in there. And there's not much room for error in terms of if you lose a couple. I mean, Forest, they were 3rd a couple of weeks ago. They're now down to 7th, and will they continue to slip and resume to normality? I don't know, but we'll see. Let's say some comments. Hopefully Leicester take Moyes. He may keep them up. Sorry.
I was thinking about Moyes. I don't know who the fit for Leicester is, but I just don't see Moyes going there. I don't know why. Like, we were talking about ambition of the clubs a minute ago, like Leicester and West Ham. It would not be surprised if Leicester owners, a bit unrealistic maybe, see themselves at least a top half Prem side. In a weird way, I can sort of get it, because the trophies they've lifted in the last 5 years, do you know what I mean? It's there in black and white. They will have an element of ambition that they're better than a relegated side, put it that way. But I'd have hung on.
To go from Maresca and have the ambition of what they want, to then go Cooper, Moyes, 2 very similar pragmatic defensive style managers, I don't think they can do that. I think they're going to have to push the boat out, and I think they will. I think it'll be a little bit out there. I can't see it being Moyes.
I don't know what money they've got either, because
I don't know.
Not all managers nowadays will jump ship for an extra 5 million a year. Do you know what I mean? I think if you're already on 5-6 million a year, an extra couple of million, they're not necessarily going to jump ship and start a new squad build. Maresca was a strange pick for Leicester. Don't forget, he was he Pep's assistant or Pep's coach at City?
Was he?
Yeah, I don't think he was out of work. I think he went straight from Man City to Leicester. I'm sure he was his assistant or head coach or something like that. I'd never heard of him. Do you know what I mean? I'm not that in line with club's backroom staff that much, if I'm being totally honest. So that was an out there move. Obviously, they've done their research. And he's obviously doing well at Chelsea. So you're right. Going from that genuine little bit of research, a little bit of a gamble. It was his first managerial job, I think I'm right in saying. Do you know what I mean? Maresca. And to then go for Cooper, which is almost a keep us up appointment, and then sack him when he might be keeping him up.
I didn't actually know that about Maresca. You are right. Yeah, he was involved in the under 21 setup back in 2020 at Man City. Then went off to Parma for a managerial job, and then ended himself up at Leicester. But yeah, he was an assistant at Manchester City
Mm.
during the 22-23 season. So that's where, I didn't know that's a Man City assistant. So in what direction they're going to take, that is one to keep an eye on for sure with Leicester. Fight says, was it on here that the Fulham fan said they've been rough at home this year? No, that was the Forest fan who said they've been rough at home this year. Then they went and thumped us 3-0 at home. So I didn't take too much on that comment. But next we'll go to the Etihad and talk about getting thumped at home. Manchester City 0, Spurs 4. I watched this on and off last night, and Gary Neville couldn't quite believe what he was seeing. And to be honest, neither could I. They could have been 2-0 up inside 10 minutes, Sean, and then they just evaporated into thin air.
Although, as a Tottenham fan, you're never confident until about the 80th minute and we're 3-0 up. I'm kind of a bit used to beating them because we've got a better record against them than any other team.
Twice in 6 weeks now, isn't it?
Yeah, we beat them twice in 6 weeks. We've beat them at the Etihad 2 or 3 times. We've won at the Etihad in some big games. I'm kind of used to beating them and doing well against them. And we have done for all through Pep's era. But it's typical of our season. I thought we looked very, very good. I thought we were very, very good value for it. I think they had one really good chance, which Vicario saved his feet in the first 10 minutes. Other than that, I thought a lot of their chances were almost, because we defended well, they were a little bit rushed and they had have little snapshots at it. I think a lot of Haaland's chances after that, they weren't exactly right in front of goal. We had to sort of rush the shot. But going forward, I thought our moves were perfect. We tore them to shreds. All 4 goals were class. I actually think we probably had the better chances to make it more than 4 than what they had. Just a couple of passes, just went a bit array a little bit. I thought we were very, very good. And I know he slagged off the Premier League last week for teams not necessarily having the classy players that they have in past years. I think that's probably one of the best team performances of the entire season of anyone yet by Tottenham yesterday. And it's not just because it is Man City. Can you remember?
But it's just a bit. Go on.
You know when Josh comes on and has a little cry and slags off Villa players when they don't win? They're rubbish, terrible. What did I say to him when we thumped Villa? Do you remember?
No.
I said, don't criticise Villa because on our day, we can do that to any player in any team in Europe. And we can on our day. As you know what I'm going to say, our frustrating thing is we've got Fulham away next week. And we're capable of just not getting it over the line. And I was trying to work out what it is, what our Achilles heel is. And I think what it is, I might be wrong, I might say something different next week. When we play a team and they stick to their guns and play their style, like if we play Villa and Emery, we're going to play our way, we're not going to change for them. Or City, we're not going to change for Tottenham or Carroll away. We can tear anyone to shreds. It's when we go somewhere, play a team where the coach thinks to himself, right, I'm not going to be naive. I'm not going to go out there and just play, you play, we play sort of football. When they change it, or if they just change their formation or go man for man or change their style, that's when sometimes we struggle. It's if a coach has done their homework against us. And
so it's when you face an Ipswich then, basically.
Yeah, Ipswich, Palace couldn't even buy a result, and they just their game plan was just to get in our face and rough us up, and we almost crumbled. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. If they thought, right, we're at home, we got to entertain our home fans, and we're gonna try and outplay Tottenham with a ball, we'd have probably beat them 4-0 like we have done United, your lot, Villa, Man City. It's just whether a lot of coaches don't want to be made to look a little bit negative, but that's against Tottenham. I think that's what you've got to do to get the result. It could end in the season a very frustrating season because I sort of said it a minute ago at Liverpool. They probably put in a 7 out of 10 every single week and get the job done. We look like the best team in the league 5 or 6 times, and then we look like a bottom half of the table team. Do you know what I mean? Like some of the performances we've put in are probably in the 3 or 4 in the top 10 and out of every team put together, but it's the consistency. Like we were outstanding against Man City. I can't say that more than that. Even players that didn't score, like your Solankis, your Kulusevskis, they're both class. The jobs they were doing and the roles they've got. Do you know what I mean? I can't fault anything about the backup centre backs that played. They're both outstanding. Set pieces where we've been a little bit wobbly. Quality. Do you know what I mean? it was almost a perfect performance in their hands. I can't fault it. But as a
Yeah.
Tottenham fan, you're always looking over your shoulder. There's always a little glint in the armour. And I think we've got Roma next in the Europa. I don't know if it's this Wednesday, the following Wednesday, or Thursday, and then Fulham is someone in between. Got to put a little run together really again now. But
Yeah.
it was absolutely brilliant. I don't have a lot to say about City really, apart from what I've seen on Match of the Day. They tended to stand off players a little bit more, giving players a little bit more space. But something the Sky Sports didn't allude to. They sort of mentioned about players coming back for City, and they've got Rodri missing. Tottenham have more missing first team players missing than City did yesterday. Do you know what I mean? We had 3 guaranteed starters missing at least. So it's just, I can't fault Tottenham on the day, but I don't want to run away with things because the top 4 do look strong. But we've got to be up around there. I think I know stats don't always mean a single thing, but even what I shared on Twitter a minute ago, we're like first and second in the Premier League for nearly every single stat you can get, but we're sitting 6th. So that's the madness of the league, and that's the madness of us this season. But if we can just put a run together, there's no reason why we can't be up there with a Chelsea and Arsenal this season at all. But well, we should be if we didn't lose to Ipswich. We're only 3 points off now, look, but we should be up in that area of the league. We should be.
And it was that game. It was that game against Man City last year. Look, you always seem to have joy against Man City. It was I think you were up to their place and you drew 3 or something stupid like that, and you had about 8 players out injured. And you always seem to do something well against Manchester City. And yeah, look, I've posed a question about Maddison this season, but I thought it was excellent. I thought overall it was a fantastic team performance, and what could have been, if City would have taken one of those chances, I still think you'd have beat them because I thought they really didn't have too much response to that. And you have more players like, listen, everyone just goes Rodri straight away. City are in trouble, right? And Pep stands there and he doesn't see like, when was the last time? What have City under Pep ever had this unprecedented run of defeats? And to be fair for us, I mean, it's grim reading about who's going to win the league if they don't, to be totally honest. I'm going to have to get me Liverpool shut out, which is really rather bleak.
What I was surprised about, though, because obviously, is it 3 defeats in the league in a row? 3?
4 defeats.
No, 3 in the league, 2 in lost.
Oh, in the cup as well, yeah.
We beat them in the cup, and then they got beat. They got
Europa League, Champions League. Yeah.
Sporting Lisbon, was it?
Sporting Lisbon.
They lost 3 in the league in a row, and they're still above Arsenal. I didn't realise that. So they've... What are they now? 4 or 5 behind Liverpool. Obviously, that's nowhere
8
near.
behind Liverpool.
How many? Sorry,
8 behind Liverpool.
Are they?
So,
okay. Yeah. It's nowhere near over, but we've never seen a wobble or them look disjointed like this ever. I don't think. Not since someone else was probably manager, but in the past, and I can't remember that far back.
Well, exactly.
They need some players to grow a pair a little bit and step up, I think. And when I'm saying that, I'm talking about like De Bruyne. I've loved De Bruyne, but he's coming up 33. He can't stay fit. So when I'm looking at City, I'm looking at the ones that might be like passengers of De Bruyne, who are good players, but been almost hanging off him a little. I'm talking about your Grealishes. I'm talking about your Fodens, who was the PFA player of the year last year, wasn't he, Foden? He's just fallen off a cliff since the Euro started. And where's he been this season? Exactly. I'm talking about players like that need to step it up. Look at Foden's trophy hauler. He's got about probably 30 trophies at home, and he's only about 25. Not even that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm talking about players like that are fully fit. They haven't got any excuse of age. They've been in these winning sides. They've won Champions Leagues. They've got 20, 30 England caps. It's time for... And I know Haaland scored an absolute boatful, but this is evident right here when you have a centre-forward who can't do anything other than put it in the net.
Can't do anything else and score.
Can't do a single thing apart from score from inside the box.
And that's absolutely fine if you've got everyone else working around, which they currently don't. And look, they'll be looking around the corner. Man City fans will be hoping for a Wolves at home or a Palace at home next week. It's Liverpool they've got next week, and what an awful time for the league leaders to come, or they go to they go to Anfield rather. And I mean, they could be staring down the barrel of 6 defeats in a row in all competitions, which is stark. And I mean, if you'd have said that at the start of the season, you'd got laughed at. So that is
I
the
think
situation we're in.
it's not the Pep way, but you'd almost is it Anfield? I assume is it? Must be.
It's Anfield, yeah.
You'd almost think go and get a point now. Do you know what I mean? You would almost
stop the
and
rot.
I know I probably contradict myself. Remember last year when Arteta thought he'd go and get a point at City when he was about to win the league. That's the opposite. Now City are on their backside. You don't want to go on a much more of a mad run of losing. I think a lot of the City downfall partly become a few players are aging. That's partly. Do you know what I mean? Silva's a great player. He's not getting any younger. They've had to bring Gundogan back. De Bruyne's can't stay fit. That's probably been their best three midfielders probably in the last 5 years, and they're all no spring chickens, are they? So your younger ones like your Fodens, and then I forget it. Who's the lad they bought from Wolves, the winger? He's never exactly done a lot, and there's Sylvinha they've got.
Nunes.
Yeah, that's him. And Sylvinha, he's clearly not ready. He's got talent, but you see he's not ready.
So there's an interesting question from Leslie, right? So are Brighton a better run club than Man City? Take Rodri out of their team and they've collapsed. And you've just listed some players there that they've made additions in the form of Nunes and Savinho and in other departments. They brought in a couple of defenders as well. I can't remember their names, but it's underwhelming and it's all exposing right at the wrong time for them, and that's interesting. We might talk about that more next week because we are running out of time. But interesting. Right, we've got 4 minutes to do Super Sunday, Sean. Southampton 2, Liverpool 3. This was a funny game. Did you watch it?
I'd seen about half of it, and then I seen the goals. Liverpool weren't blowing me away a great deal. A lot of their almost like half shots from outside the box, a lot in the first half. But then Southampton just go and give these goals away.
Suicidal.
The Southampton penalty was an interesting one because they showed it on the replay. They thought, yeah, that's probably outside. That's going to be a free kick. I remember in the past you banged on about camera angles and all this, and you can't quite tell.
Get one on the line.
Well, I'm not expecting it that much, but what this was a story of, I thought, you couldn't 100% tell whether it was a wrong decision because you sort of...
Go on.
So, yeah, I thought it was a free kick, but
so did I. Yeah.
They showed another angle where sort of the knees hit and it wasn't on the line. And as soon as they've got doubt of, put it this way, if it's the other way round, they wouldn't have given it as a penalty.
But I think
on the edge of the box.
With these things, you get a gut feeling as a fan, and my gut feeling straight away was free kick. I thought that's a free kick straight away. And now we get to see what, like when they talk, we can't hear what they're saying, but we can see them on the TV, and you could tell just by their body language they didn't have a clue. And I reckon in the end they just went, leave the decision.
Yeah, and this is one of them things. I'm sure during game time the Liverpool fans were having a meltdown over it. I don't even need to read it. I'm sure they were, but it is one of them things. Like even from there, if you put your official's head on, you're thinking, I couldn't 100% tell whether it was inside or out. I thought it was just outside, but I wasn't 100%. So you've just got to go to the ref. Do you know what I mean? And you can blame the ref if you want to go overboard. But yeah, it was more of a story of Liverpool sort of huffed and puffed, did enough again. That's what I think when I watch them play most weeks. But Southampton, they just give away so many goals. I think all 3 goals were just weak by either the goalie or the defence. Do you know what I mean? The first one was calamitous. Do you know what I mean? From the goalkeeper rolling it out to a player under pressure about 8 yards out. I think it was Flynn Downs tried to recycle it, didn't they?
Tried to get rid of it and just didn't. Yeah.
It
was clueless, to be honest. All of it was clueless. Now, look, I watched that, and I'm going to be honest, we sat there and watched it, and barring the mistakes, Southampton looked better than us, right? Sat there, they had a bit of press. Liverpool, and Carragher said it after about 25 minutes, he said, Liverpool are at the races here. And I don't think they have been for quite a few games this season, but he said that straight off the bat, and there was an opportunity there to capitalise. But some of the mistakes, I mean, just suicidal. Look, they're going to die on that hill under Martin. But
yeah, they will. They're good football inside the watch. Yeah. But you just know they're going to give goals away. And he won't change it. He said he's going to die on that hill. The problem is with Southampton, when you've got a coach which is such an extreme style, do you know what I mean? You might be even struggling with yourself with it now, but like the opposite sort of style. When you've got an extreme style embedded into their squad, whoever they bring in, it's going to be a very different style. Very different. It's going to be hard to change that mentality. Like you got your keeper rolling out 5 yards, and yeah, I don't see them changing. I only see it well, going down basically.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the talk of the town this weekend, certainly on Sky Sports, they haven't stopped talking about it. Thoughts on the start of the Ruben Amorim era, Sean?
It's a slow start because I thought they were lucky to get a point, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
It's again back to McKenna. Ipswich are a half decent football side. They play good football. It is early days, especially because United now going to play this back three, which Amorim's always played. I don't know if he'd be happy. He'd probably be happy with a point because they did well to get that point, really. And I see again talking about your club. I see a lot of your fans are crying out to get Delap in January, and I don't see any chance of that happening at all. But there you go. Yes, I think he'd be reasonably happy with a point. He's got another week to work on the players.
Yeah, and I think Drury said it at the end of the commentary, so it's not a calamity. He hasn't gone and lost. It's not amazing, but I think he'd have probably deep down, he won't admit it in his press conferences, but he'll be content with that tonight when he sits down and reflects. Look, yeah. I mean, they were a goal up inside 90 seconds and whatever, but Ipswich came back into it well, and they had some chances, and you're right, they could have won it. And you've said that quite a lot. I mean, I even said that on the opening day of the season when Liverpool went to Ipswich, they could have got something there, and that's happened a lot this season. At our place, we beat them 4-1, but there was a point where they could have ran away with it. They could have a lot more points than they have currently, Ipswich.
They lost heart against your lot, didn't they? You got a couple of quick goals before half-time or something like that. I can't remember. They lost heart. They're well coached. They haven't really got any flashy stars. They've got 3 or 4 decent players. But unlike Southampton, they've got more of a traditional style. So you know that they're not always going to be like a calamity at the back. They're going to give you a tough game. I don't mind them as a team, to be honest. And I think the manager will go on and get bigger and better jobs.
No, I agree. Absolutely. Now, my final question to you is, how many is it going to be by tomorrow night, Sean? How many do you reckon is going to go past Fabianski?
I reckon you might get a point.
Really?
Yeah.
Blimey.
Newcastle, like most of the league, they're a funny side. I wouldn't write off his managers just yet. That's my honest opinion. I wouldn't write him off. He might not be the answer long term, but I don't think you should all sort of write him off either just yet.
I've just got visions of they've been a little bit hot and cold this season, Newcastle. But I got visions under the light, St James's Park. If we concede one early, our defence against your lot, our defence folded, our midfield folded.
Who have you got missing at the moment, suspended or injured?
Kudus is still out after he punched about 6 players, and I think one more's out. But yeah, Kudus is definitely out.
Because all I keep reading is this Rodriguez is going to go back pretty soon.
Could go back in January to Real Betis. That's what we're hearing.
So right, let's stop playing him then. Because he can't move anyway. He can't
exactly.
To stop playing him, just if that's the possibility, just you can't start prattling around with midfield. You've got what you've got. It's not the quickest midfield, but if Alvarez is fit, just try and get him back at doing the role he did last year for you. It's an old saying. I know he wasn't there last year, but I think Harry Redknapp said it. When you're doing well, you write his best 11 down on a bit of paper and put it in a drawer. When you're struggling, go back to the drawer and get out that bit of paper. All right. Sometimes it might be dull. It might be, I'm playing this side again. Oh, we've got Antonio back up front or anything like that. But sometimes when your back's against the wall, you've got to go back to what has worked. Whether it's in a different manager or not, Alvarez worked in that role. Put an arm around him, say, right, you're my man in the middle again. I want you doing what you did last year. You've arguably got 2 better centre-backs and a better right-back this year, arguably. You could probably say. So there's no reason why, with Alvarez in front of that defence and in front of that, then something else will happen. There's no reason why, with that sort of back 4 and Alvarez in front, you can't at least keep a few games tight.
Well, it's going to be an interesting test of character tomorrow night. Am I going to be proven wrong happily? I don't know, but yeah, I think you're right in terms of the midfield and in terms of Alvarez, that it worked last season. It hasn't worked this season, and Rodriguez is going back. Absolutely, don't bother with him then because he hasn't been, he's not done anything in the time that he's been there. Anyway, going forward, just play Somerville for God's sake. Like he's been the only one that's had half a go. Kudus is unavailable. What do you do up front? I mean, there's been calls to chuck 2 up there. Why not? Because Antonio hasn't worked up front on his own. Bowen hasn't worked.
The problem you've got with Alvarez, he's not in great form. Rodriguez, he can't run and he's probably unhappy by the sound of it. You probably need to pack your midfield, especially away.
True.
So you probably got to pick Souček because he's got some legs normally.
Yeah.
So then who do you go with him? Because everyone else is in bad form, really.
Paqueta's not much help. Soler's not much help. So really, that's all we got.
Yeah, in hindsight, you left yourself a little bit light in that area, probably, especially if you want to play a free in the middle in some games. Quite light, not many legs in all the options really. But you've got to go back to basics. He's had an opportunity to put his arm around Alvarez this week, and that's what I would have been concentrating on doing if I was him. But
absolutely,
you could get a point if you keep it tight, and that a lot of that does come down to your centre midfield 2 or 3.
Yeah, I hope you are right. I hate predicting against us, but 3-0, 4-1 to Newcastle, 1-1 at best. So Alvarez needs to get back to the holding role and do what he does right and what he did all throughout last season. Absolutely flat back 4, Alvarez and Souček holding in a 3 midfield and a striker. I think that's probably what he'll go with. I'll be honest. But
the thing is, when he's played Alvarez and Rodriguez together, I don't think they either of them know what their roles are. No. So they sort of get in each other's way and they end up just standing still. So I don't think that's the answer personally. But
I think he'll go with Alvarez, Souček, and Paqueta. I think he'll go with.
He's probably got no choice if he's going to be sensible with the new lad. If he is going back, he's probably got no choice and. Whoever else comes in, I said last week, might not improve it massively quickly. Do you know what I mean? Because that's the tools you've got at the moment. Yeah. You haven't got a Ward-Prowse, you haven't got a Downs. Do you know what I mean? They can't come in and out here and there to just rotate it a little bit when someone's out of form. So yeah, you're a little bit light in there, and but yeah, would not shock me if you got a point. To be quite honest.
There we go. That is the Premier Balance Show done for another week. Josh has got mock exams next week. That's why he's not with us tonight, because I'm sure he's readily working ahead of those. So good luck to him next week. And Sean, I will see you same time, same place. We've got a little Monday Night Football's coming up. So
I'm not on it next week, mate. I'm on my cruise.
On a cruise, are you? Ooh.
I'm going on the one that you've been on before.
Are you? Which one?
The Canary Island ones. We're going. Ooh. I think next Sunday. Are we on Sunday? Are we playing Sunday?
Are you? I don't know.
Is it? I don't even know if it's Europa League this week or next week. I can't remember.
Do you want me to have a look for you?
Have a look if we're playing Sunday. I think we're home to Fulham.
You've got Roma on Thursday night, and then you're home to Fulham on Sunday. Yeah.
Is it on the telly in the UK? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know. 1:30 kickoff. Oh, they're doing one of those early ones because it's Liverpool, Man United.
I think I'm in Madeira that day. So
Madeire's lovely. Get on that toboggan going down. You've got to go up and get the toboggan down. You'll love it.
I was thought about it, but I don't like the idea of waiting for about 2 hours to get on it. So I might find a bar to watch the football.
Fair enough. Well, enjoy your cruise. Thank you very much. We'll join you tomorrow night for a build-up show. We haven't done many of them this season, but I'm going to join you tomorrow night where we're going to have Larry and Gary joining us, and we're going to start our secret Santa process where no doubt I'm going to get the mic taken out of me. Anyway, but yeah, Sean, thank you very much. Enjoy your cruise. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. And thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Cheers, mate.